Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Madden podcast. I'm Max, your host, and I'm here with the wonderful, the amazing Roxanne. Hi, Roxy.
Hello, Max. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks all for joining in to the Madden God. Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah. Yes. So, um, today we're going to talk about the unknown reality. What is the unknown?
It's unknown.
Yeah, okay, right. Thank
Thank
you
you for
for
joining
joining
us.
in. It's unknown.
Now you
Goodbye.
know. Before you didn't know
We're done.
because it was unknown, but now you know the unknown is unknown. Now you know. That's it.
Bye.
So I'll start on this. So I wanted to share with you guys the possibilities of what the unknown truly is. So let's all I pardon me, I had a cough there. I ate a cinnamon muffin, just a little bite, and I know the little cinnamon got my throat and going tickle, and then you have that little tickle in your throat.
Mhm.
So, anyways, so what I mean by the unknown in this regard is where my life is compared to the expected mind of where it started out when I first awoke and when I first started channeling. When I became a channel and everything, you have a memory. So let's all understand that if your memory provides you with time. It provides you with perspective. Um, a memory is the source of your past, and it is the source of your future. And how do you know it's the source of your future? Well, because you think about the past and you can imagine, which is still thinking, what the future might hold. And if you look at society and all their predictions and their absolute failure of those predictions, just shows you its perspective of each person thinking about the future as a perspective of occurrence that is called now. So it's a now reality. So we can think ahead and predict the weather, predict football games, gambling, with sports. We can predict how the enemy in warfare will react. We can predict with a couple other things, and we base our lives off of that. Because why do we want to make certain that the future is safe and secure? Well, because the current isn't safe and secure. That's our relationship to reality. So if our relationship to reality in any given now is that of fear, then the unknown is a fearful place from the perspective of the self in the now. The vibrational memory you're creating only gives you perspectives of possibilities of what we would call consequential or negative realities. And we don't want to play with those realities. So we take steps to assure ourselves the best case scenario, and they work out, and then you have a positive reality, and you feel good emotionally in that now about your positive outcome. And then that emotion dies away, and then you do it again. And if it has a negative idea, then we learn from our lessons, is the story we sell ourselves. And there is absolute learning. Learning is not discounted. You get better. But if you get better at continuing the cycle of getting better as an external posture, then most certainly you're going to continue that formula because you're putting out the same thing. You're putting out the same vibrational lack of yourself. So you're going to get successes and you're going to get failures. And that's not right or wrong, okay? That's not right or wrong. That's a chosen reality, folks. We want to look at now if you change your relationship to the eternal, internal self, and you can look at your past and say, I made a decision. That self, and we'll call that self from yesterday, we'll call that self A as an alpha. So self A made a choice. And out of that, I have a today result from that choice. That's me today, called self B. So self B looked at the future of the unknown and made a choice about it. And then self B is the experiencer of that choice And if it is a positive, then you're awesome. If it is a negative or consequential or something that didn't quite work out, then you can look at it as learning and doing better next time. But there's also another way to look at it. Now, that's the way that's beyond the idea of learning. Beyond the idea of success, of doing it. It's the unconditional side of it, of evolution. Every self is birthing a new self. And what that shows you, rather, let me say it subjectively here, what that shows me is in my life, my choices that were made from an fearful self led to realities of fearful relationships. And I was still vibrating that perception and experiencing that. So it was easy to say it didn't work out or to say it did work out. But then I had to look at what it really was. It was fear of the unknown. And I was habiting myself to secure the unknown because I was taught that. Got to prepare, got to make sure, got to save money, better do this, better do that, or this might happen, that might happen. And then you just get an absolute plethora of diarrhea from the mouths of the separated, telling you what's best for you. And there is no best for me save the best that I am in the moment. Every self chosen, listen closely, folks, come on now. Every self chosen is the best self in the moment. Unarguably, the best self ever. The next self you birth can look back at that self and regret that self and create an argument. But that self, no one else could have chosen. Every choice you make in the now is the best self you are. So one of the selves that I had to transcend is the self that said the future, the unknown, is a scary place. And I did that by understanding myself as law one is existence, which is an eternal being that's indestructible. I will experience harshness and suffering. I will experience deaths and births. I will experience joys and successes, all while dwelling in the idea of humanity in the separated world that encompasses and projects and radiates constantly polarity. When I move beyond polarity, I will still have relationships reality, but they won't be confined to the limitations of humanity's conditionings. They will be the unconditional reality of myself. So if I looked at that perspective, and then I realized, my God, I see a future that's not happening. I'm wondering what's there if I don't run interference on it with my vibrational output, which put out, which get back. Law 3. My vibrational frequency of lack about my now, which is vibrating and creating my future that is being drawn into me, the frequency bands of that revelation. Now remember, it's not giving you a better or worse reality. It's giving you an unconditional reality that you conditioned. So it's always about the perception of yourself in each and every moment. So um, I saw that what happens if I get rid of the self to see what the unknown is about. So that's where I focused my work. I trusted the now. I didn't take the action of saving money, saving for a better day. I did no intentional ideas of safety and security. I became defenseless and surrendered. And then 9 years later, I'm fine. I'm still good. It's actually 10 years next month, I think. It is when I really started the work. I'm still here and still now. And I've gotten a life that I could never imagined. Now, let's look at the life. The life itself, if I compare it to my ego structure of success, then I'm not very successful. I don't have a lot of YouTube followers. I don't have a lot uh, of those mainstays of success that I can brag about, because those aren't my appetites. I'm not looking to get views and things like that. I'm looking to ascend myself. So the ego side of it, there's no valid comparison of the reality that I live today that would substantiate anything of positivity, but it also doesn't give me negativity. It gives me the unconditional journey of the now. So my life is where it is because I let go. Now, to me, the life is outstanding. It is literally priceless because I see what Osifius taught me years and years ago. One of the beings that I channel, Osifius, taught me years ago. The realities of the unknown are so priceless that you're seeing it right now. And I never was able to see the pricelessness and the reality 9 or 10 years ago. I had so many vibrational conditionings about the perceptions of my reality, I couldn't see the beauty of the now. That didn't weigh in on the idea of positive and negative, because that's all they could see. Everything was scaled to me. I was looking at everything in measure. And as you evolve, you start taking the measure away, you start transcending those belief systems, you all of a sudden start to see a reality without conditions. And therefore, the future needed no conditioning. And the future brought the absolute priceless understanding of what is truly out there for you. And what is out there didn't come in the form of materialistic attachments, it came in relationships. There are still things in the world of physicality that are uh, usable by me that I use on a day to day basis, a nice Apple laptop, an Xbox, new series Xbox. These things are manifested as a part of the reality, but they're never coveted, they're never focused on because there's no goals in my life. I don't have a better self that I can be until the self of the now. But we look for better selves, for the better future. We do ourselves to take the future and allow ourselves to be opportunistic in that future instead of focusing on the now. So that unknown part of you that's waiting to come to you can't be received because we push it away with our own vibrational intention of a better world. So what was wrong with your world now is where I needed to start. My perception was showing the world that I was lacking. I didn't have this, I didn't have that, I wanted to be this, I wanted to be that. And all those were just part of my awakening. That was the journey. So in the idea of sharing with humanity, the unknown is not and never shall be a scary place. It is always going to be what you say it is. But what the key is here is what I was saying in reaction was how I was experiencing those intentions and those saving myself for a rainy day or making the future safer or taking caution was a reactionary self of the now that I started to recognize to give myself the unfiltered, unconditional reality of possibility to allow to attract to me. So the unconditional has surprised the shit out of me. It has. But you have to find your resonance. It's your resonance. That's why you got to get nasty with yourself. Brutal fucking honesty. Stop cowering around like a fucking baby, squawking like a chicken because everything is going wrong in your life. That's the dialogue that you're selling yourself. You're selling yourself the story every day. And that's not a victim. That's a perception. That's a priceless perception to allow you to start to see in your reality, you're creating your experience by your own interpretation. Most of us down here are hell bent on making a better planet, making a better future, and doing this and doing that. And all we're doing is controversing ourselves into a cycle of polarity, sustaining the reality of the mass psyche. That's it. And then, if you look close, if you look sharp, humans, you can see where the 4D Earth, 3D and 4D Earth are starting to shape themselves. It's a long time before these splits. It's a long time before they are. They're not in our lifetime. But you can see the manifestations of the world starting to take shape. There's a slipstream world that has no effort. It doesn't have a controversy side. It just is. And then the controversy is in the 3D world about that thing. So let's look at the idea of this. Let's talk about the unknown futures and bring it into the now real quick. And bring it into the now and show how we can take the future and fuck it up. Ready? All right. So we have a problem because the collective has agreed we have a problem with climate control, climate change. Yeah.
Change.
So climate change has been a big thing. And in the last 200 years, our carbon footprint has changed the face of the earth in 200 years. Now, is that debatable? Of course it's debatable. It's 100% debatable. They've already shown that the planet was a hell of a lot hotter than we ever knew. No one wants to believe that, though, because, see, they don't want the resolve. They want the controversy because humans live and feed in polarity. They don't want to
Yeah.
believe that Antarctica has mountains and was a tropical environment. Although we have the maps that say it was from explorers of this world, valid things. But you don't want to know that. You want to see what's happening in the now. So there's always the controversy. You got to look at that. So global warming has spawned an entire prejudice against the fossil fuels, which fossil fuels are not good or bad. They're unconditional choices because they're part of creation.
They were available to be the guilty one.
And
we needed someone, right?
You got to have something. So we blame that. That's right, because we need the controversy.
Yeah.
So now that we have all of the cars that are becoming electric, and California stepping up and saying no more new cars in the year 2034 to 2038, whatever their new law is coming. But now we have a problem because we don't have enough electricity.
Yeah.
So now we get to,
because we cannot get it, right?
We don't have enough electricity. Now here comes that. So what do? We got to have more ideas. But the demand on the electricity right now is crazy. So what do we have to do? Well, we got to start up our nuclear power plants because we don't have enough fossil fuels because there's too many regulations against fossil fuels, and the windmills and the solars aren't getting us there. They're only providing 17, 18, 19%. And then, of course, the hydros are running out because we're running out of fucking water. But how can we be running out of water if the ice caps are melting when there's an enormous... See, that's the 3D world, folks. See, now watch your emotions get all mixed up in there, and then you're going from left to right, to one to the other. That's the 3D world. Now, here's the 4D world. Oh, cool, electricity, electric cars. We're moving away from that. We're evolving, and we're moving in this world. And then we don't look for the problem, and we don't look for it as a solution. We go, oh, look, in the now, that's accessible to me. So maybe sometime in my lifetime, I get an opportunity to purchase an electric car. And in my little bubble, I always have electricity to charge it. Because I'm not working in the mass psyche, I'm working in the single world that I am. And what's provided to me in the now will always be there. That's the world I create. I don't look at the wrong and rights of things. I look at the now and the relationship. If I find my rights and wrongs, then I'm looking at the future in a perspective of polarity. I'm looking at the now in the perspective of polarity. So where we're going as the future is determined by the relationship of the now. So we can have all the electric cars in the world, and then we can also create a shortage of electricity to where we have to do rolling blackouts. But see, humanities love to do something. What do they love? Are you guys looking at it? Look at it in your mind. Look at what humanity absolutely loves. As soon as they get a good thing, they have to control it. And they're going to control it. Now that is a human thing. But you can't perceive yourself being controlled and have a little bitch session about what's going to happen and blah, 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 unless you want to create a reality of the now and keep your fractal fat and happy with the energy you're feeding it of polarity, or you can step the fuck out of it and say, that's not happening now. What's happening now is I am right now, and I'm fine. And I have what I have. If it's a gas car and I have gas available, I'll use it. If it's an electric car, I'll use it. If there's not electricity in my thing and I get shut down from electricity, that's my now. I have to live my experience without any defense on this planet. So I can vibrate into the unknown, which will hit my vibrational fractal at a frequency rate that will give me resonance of resistance. And then I shall recognize my own beliefs I created, because I forgot everything, through my own journey of those truths, those fractal belief systems of lack that I'm vibrating, and give me an opportunity to transcend those so I can become whole as myself right here, right now, as my human ascending. All because the future is scary. Would you like to talk now, Max?
Well, the example of climate change is very interesting, right? First of all, do you remember climate change? Just the last couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years that we're calling it climate change. We were not calling it climate change before. We were calling it something else.
Yes.
Now it has become climate change, and suddenly, right out of nothing, out of and if you look at the science of climate change, I'm not always say, but I realize that it doesn't make sense. The science around that doesn't make sense at all if you really look into it. But moreover, the interesting thing of what you said before is that look at we have a solution, electric cars, but that's not good enough. Let's use electric cars. Yeah, but electric cars needs electricity, so let's fuck up electricity production. So that actually we have a solution, but
we create a problem.
We make that solution still a problem. Yeah, because we cannot have a solution. We have only to have problems. And we have to keep it as a problem, because then what? Exactly. Because what do? When we have a problem and someone comes and say, look, it's not really a problem. There are solutions. Let's go with the solution. Humanity will say what? Oh no, 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 we don't want a solution. No, we don't want that, because if you do that, there is this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem, problem. I give you problems. So that we keep ourselves in that. Because the thing I always thought, look at climate change. This time humanity has overdone itself, because we have created a problem of which the only real solution from the scientific point of view, right, the science that has been given around climate change, the only solution is for humanity to disappear. We have overdone ourselves. We have created a problem where the only solution is ourselves to disappear.
We're the problem.
We're the problem, right? Until then, suddenly you have COVID, and humanity has to reduce activity, stay home, and all of that, and some people realize, watch out of their window, and suddenly see, oh, look at that, nature is already recuperating so fast, getting better and better every day, and you can see it every day. You see how it improves, whereas climate change scientists are saying, oh, we're already fucked up, we should have change yesterday or last year or 10 years ago. Very interesting, right? Because we're keeping ourselves in that, and not cycle, letting go of that,
because that's cycle, the only way to maintain the image, the identity.
Yeah. It's really fascinating, that need of keeping ourselves in that. Whereas actually solutions are there. There are many solutions. The 4D, right? And it's even now to see them as solutions this is available to us. Deserts, use desert and put trees in the deserts. They are starting to do that now. I've seen that they are putting trees in the Sahara Desert and those places, and doing stuff like that, right? That gives another image. And electricity, now they are saying there isn't enough electricity. Well, yeah, okay, right. And I've seen today that here in Europe they are giving 50% increase in electricity prices. And I said, well, okay, right, we'll pay. I mean, what else do you want to do?
They're going to pay.
Cry,
Well, of course
make
they're
a
going to pay.
revolution, or
But
whatever?
see, that's the thing. There is no what else you're going to do. That's just the cycle that humanity interprets. What they're going to
Yeah,
do is going to live now.
yeah,
Have you ever noticed that we all are still here
yeah,
no matter how much we cry? No matter how much thing? We're
exactly.
just creating realities of
Yes,
polarity so we can remain the human. Our existence doesn't leave,
yeah,
but the human only knows the emptiness, has relied on the emptiness to be fulfilled with the identity in the maddening cycles, as the Madden gods do. Keep it up
yeah. Keep it up,
forever.
right? And now it's when you said the first dimension, right? The new dimension, the
40 Earth.
you experience the first the Earth, right? Well, interesting how that feels so much quieter when I relate to the known, so the human uh, activity, the human how we are producing ourselves right now, this reality with all this economics and politics and all that. We know how that's the known side, right? We know how that works. We know that thing. When we just quiet down that side and try to just no not try we just align ourselves with the unknown, so with our heart, with the unconditional, with the creator, that inside work, that the inside, right? When we connect with that, it's quiet. It's really very quiet. There is no brouhaha. There are no problems. There are no solutions. No need for solution. There are no problems. It's just a state of being, right? So
Yes.
all of that gone. No need. How quiet it is. Well, that's not fantasy. That's not something that we cannot reach. It's there. And for me, I realized that the unknown is that side. I know the human, I know how, let's say, this 3D world works, how it is. Oh, go to work, 5 to 9, right? That thing, offices, and then go shopping or getting some money, spending it, right? That cycle of human activity. I know that, done it, been there. So now when I connect myself with that side, the for the earth or the creator or the that's unknown. I don't know that because I haven't played in that. I haven't allowed myself to stay in that and be that version of me. So the discovery, it's there, entering into that, the unknown. And once you get in that, right, that quiet, that being, the state of being, I am. And often when I talk with someone or like that, right, we try to figure that out or talk about that. It's but then we are just right. We're not there. We are talking about it. You don't talk about it because when you are that, you are state of being. There is no discussing. There is no sorry. There is nothing. It's I am, but we don't know yet exactly what I am is. We are trying. And I am, the unknown, is not needed to be figured out. Because when you are it, you simply are it. You are being it. You're not trying to know. You're not telling yourself, oh, I'm in my business. I am right now. When you do that, you're not there because you're still holding that thing. You may be close or something like that, but you're not because and this is something that we receive from the channels from our friends, the beings that we channel and all of that. You, they do not identify themselves, they do not see themselves, they don't do human, they are, it's different. And so for us that is still unknown in its full, right, in the fullness of that. Because when we play human, we play human. It's not less than that, it's different. It's the human activity, it's the human experience that we are here to have, right? So that's what we're playing. But being human and having the human experience doesn't prevent us or doesn't negate us having access to the unconditional, to the unknown, to the creator, to all of that side of our being that we are not, as the way we have learned to be. We are not accessing it. Let's say we didn't learn to do that because it's not part of our baggage, right? Our basic training as human beings doesn't give you I am, it gives you
It gives you I am not.
Yeah.
I'm not this, I'm not that. I need to be this and I need to be that.
Exactly. The identity
Sure.
and all of that. Because the I am is not identified. So it goes in what Roxy you were saying, right? This scary being without identity, without the need of appearing, without the need of performing, without the need of achieving, of all of that thing that we oblige ourselves to do, to perform, to, because, well, right, I've been told that if I don't perform, well, then right, there is a song, an Italian song that says that uh, who's not working doesn't make love, right? In order to make love, you have to work. So
the fuck is that?
that's the idea, right?
A pile of
Yeah, I
shit.
know.
Fucking thing. But okay, I mean that's human being human. I got
But
it. Go ahead.
yeah, that's the idea, right? Behind all of this, you have to perform, you have to do all of that, or then you're not productive, you're not giving to the society, you're not good. So we have been there, we've done that, we know what that is. So now we have, as a choice, the opportunity to choose differently, to choose ourselves, to choose
But
the
remember that
unknown.
choice is a perception. You can't choose the outside as a tangible. This work is internal work. It's the choice of perception. Someone says, you have to do this, you have to do that, or you're not this and you're not that. And people held me accountable, and I held myself in accountability towards their truth because I was taught nothing of the sort, that I had my own adventure inside of me, and that adventure was my choice to interpret. No one ever taught me that. Well, why would they? Because no one knows. We're waking up. I get it. Okay.
No.
So that point is, folks, is that choice is not a tangible outside to go and choose. It's not like, do I want, number one or number two? It's not an external choice. It's an internal revelation to your own perception. So if someone would say this about me or that about me, I would say, okay, cool, that's nice. That's a great truth, and go on with your bad self. And I had to feel my own emotions about those, and those are my works to do that. Like, transgender, being kicked my ass all over the place about being transgender and a non-passable transgender. And then I was carrying that in my mind. And then other people would what do you call it? Reinforce.
Reinforce.
Thank you, Max. Reinforce that reality with their perception of me and their looks and calling me sir instead of ma'am and all these things. So all of that was my choices of evolving my internal. See, that's my choice to see my own relationship about me expressing my image, pimping my ride as a female when I was birthed a male is a choice. That's the tangible choice, but it's a relationship choice. And to the internal, that evolves that perception to where when those criticisms at one time were criticisms, when they're no longer critiquing me because I'm not resonating in that frequency of defense, and therefore it doesn't matter what anyone fucking says because I get it now. I understand it now. So that's the work of what they're telling you to do, what they're telling you to go. And the work is the internal relationship to notice how your behavior is pulling yourself. Your emotions are pulling you towards a behavior like the future. Oh, you have to get a security system because you might get robbed. This is a bad neighborhood, so we better do this. And you do that, and that's not right or wrong. That's a choice. That's a choice. It doesn't mean all of a sudden you leave all your windows open either and don't lock your fucking doors because you're challenging your ego. You don't do that. You find your truth in the moment without fear. And you keep going in that moment to see. So I saw my own shit about being transgender, and I think, okay, if I had bigger boobs, that would be more womanly. Or if my hair was longer, if you saw my hair, I look like a witch, I am. But I have gray hair and it's very,
I am.
it's very long, and I have, my own relationship to expressing my feminine side of me. But I also know now, since 12 years since I've been transgender, since I became Roxanne, I know that my male parts are absolute vital to me. So then you don't blend the two with an intention or purpose. You use what's available to you in the moment. Why do we have to be one or the other? Why can't we be both? Well, because then that's another fucking label to some people. That's what I had to get past. I don't care what the people saw me as. I was going to be the reality of neutral for them to assign without any recourse of their opinion resonating resistance within me. And if I had that resistance, I got work to do. I better own my own fucking shit because it's me. And the world has gone crazy and ape shit with all the crybabies out there, and then we're making a laws and we're doing all this stuff to make everyone happy. And we're not going to make anyone happy because as long as we fix, we're going to have problems. As long as we law each other, then we're going to keep the controversy alive because as soon as you compress a human, the human is going to react against that compression. Because we live in polarity. So there's no resolve. What are we doing? We're just cycling. The simplicity of it is we're just selling ourselves new versions of old scenes. They look different. They have different relationships. They have different commodities that you can touch. They're different frequencies. But it's the same old fucking song and dance. We had social circles that were stoops on the streets and the blocks of the cities. And now our social media has moved to a virtual world of, the internet. But it's no fucking different. We're selling ourselves the same paint. We think we're this thing. We're not. We're the same versions of ourselves. And if you look back 1,000 centuries, you're going to see the same versions. We clean up history like the Egyptians and the old people are these great fucking species, and they did all this stuff in the Mayans and the Aztecs. They were as fucked up as we were. I promise you that. There was corrupt, there was murder, there was rape, there was good Samaritans, there were the right people, there was government. We haven't changed. We're just doing the same thing. The change comes in relationship for the singularity to see how they're creating their reality through their belief systems that creates a vibrational attraction, allowing them to move forward with their own perception or allowing them to stay the idea of the same feeling in accordance with the relationship. So one of the steps for me was the fucking out the future. allowing that unknown in, not putting one fucking buffer to make it better as it comes. And I've been through some shit controversies, but those controversies I don't want to avoid, because those controversies was my mind selling me the story of controversial. My mind. I was interpreting the consequence of my actions. I was interpreting the downside. I was interpreting the successes. I was interpreting the right choices. That's my fucking dance, my rodeo, and I started to own it. That's just an avenue. And the unknown has brought me a reality of, oh my fucking God, I'm God. I got it now. I got it.
Yeah.
I've shown
Yeah.
myself the truth about reality that is subjective to mine. And it's no one else's truth, and nor does it need to be. Because that's the wonderful thing about the unconditional, is everyone's truth is their own.
It's incredible when you have that revelation,
Fucking
right?
incredible.
When you suddenly say, "Oh, right, I've been saying this. I'm God. I'm the creator. Yeah, I know that." And suddenly you just don't know it. You finally get it in a deeper, well, heart center way, right? You know it as, well. You know it. It's not a question that you can. It's not a question. It's what it is. And I got that. I've seen myself, and suddenly looking at my actions and the way, right, just being there, having a human experience, and suddenly it's me. The ah,
Fucking
it's
A.
me.
It's you. It's me.
Yeah,
I do it to myself. I do it for myself. I do it to myself. Ain't
yeah.
no one else.
It's not someone else. It's me. Oh gosh. But I knew that, but now I really know it because I'm experiencing it. I'm observing it. I'm seeing it, and there is no more possibilities of denial or of hiding, of running away from that. Now it's that, and there you are with that. And suddenly you also have the observer, and you observe yourself and you say, oh, right, look at that. Now I know what external is. Now I know what internal is.
Yes. To see the external as a relationship to the internal will just totally shatter your your perception of reality as the past. You know, it gives you a whole new.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, I'm looking at the external as more valid than me. I'm taking that as a higher
yeah,
truth. I'm taking that as a truth of standardization that exists on its own. It exists as a neutral idea of the unconditional that I assign internally, which is my experience, my bubble. Fucking A.
yeah,
Masters.
yes. And it's what you said before, right? The history, how we white, I'd say whitewash it, right? The white folks have that tendency more than, right, to whitewash it. So we wash history so that those historic figures, they're not historic anymore. They are us, with our ethics, with our point of views, with our way of doing things. They're just us. And we do not let that history be history and be whatever it is, because it's not now. So they behave differently, they were different, they experience it. That's the point, right? It's not now, so why that will be like now? We have that tendency. We do it like if it were now. and so then it's lost. It's just, why would we have a history if it's just to have now? What is the meaning of that? And
That's a great
there
question. What is
are
the meaning of history?
instances. What is the meaning of
That's another
history, right?
podcast. I mean, they can be a podcast, but what
Yes.
I love about history is a created ability part of the experience. Law, too, is everything is here and now. Memory gives me an experience of the now that I call history. And that's part of the space-time continuum that we're creating as a reality. Fantastic. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah, right? So for me now, when I think about the Roman Empire, well, the Roman Empire has nothing to do with what is in our history book. There you go. There you have it. And if I want to have any idea of the Roman Empire, I will not go anymore in a history book, because then I don't have an idea of what that was. I have an idea of our perspective of the Roman Empire. And also, I realized that the Romans were the best marketing people ever. They marketed themselves in such a way that we have no idea what was really happening in those moments, right? We see them as this, well, yeah, militaristic society, but yeah, I mean, we don't see the genocidal that they committed, right? Many genocides, and all the very violent thing that was happening, because it's not presenting in that way. But I mean, come on, they were destroying society. They were destroying everything that they were encountering, and in
They were
occupying it.
conquerors.
But they
Yeah.
couldn't do that.
They conquered. They go,
Yeah,
oh,
they
okay,
were
you're not right.
conquerors.
I mean, it's the same thing we did to the Native Americans. Speaking from an American point of view, you know, the Puritans came in. These
Yeah.
guys, these guys are savages. Let's wipe them out, and we did. The Romans were no different. You know, who else? Who's
Yeah.
better than the Romans? Who's better than the British? Genghis Khan. Now that motherfucker got busy.
Yeah.
We think we're badasses and wiping
Yeah.
out people and committing genocides. That motherfucker was badass. He went through and raped so many women that
Yes.
we're all related to him. About 1/3 of humanity is related to this one guy.
Yes, but the
I know.
point here is that when those in those times, let's say, well, they were not relating to this
Never.
in this way, right?
Exactly. Keep going.
Never,
Shut up.
right? No, but it's fascinating, and I think that we should have an episode just on, or a couple of
On
just
history, so we can look at that.
It is very fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but right in the end, that's the point, is that if we look at history with our point of view, then we miss what the experience is in that history, in that experience that is there. The Romans were conquerors. They created an empire. They had slaves, right? And suddenly we have an idea that they were nice people, that they were nice with their slaves, and it makes me laugh. I mean, I, I'd like to ask to some people, do you want to be a slave? Do you want to go in and have the experience of experiencing that?
You
Probably
couldn't
have,
do that
but
from now context, though. See, that's
no.
like air conditioning. See, right now we're post air conditioning. Pre-air conditioning, no one ever thought of air conditioning, and they didn't have a bad problem. It was just hot. Open the windows. That's all it was. They didn't have another perception. Yeah. So today people go, of course we're not going to be slaves. But at that time, those people, they might say, okay, slavery is what we are, but at least they're safe, they're secure in it, and an unsafe and unsecure, and they're well fed, according to the slavery, or according to the thing. That's all relative reality. See, that's the wonderful thing about history. It gives us a concept, but it doesn't give us the perception of those people in those times and those situations. It'll
exactly.
never be able to do that,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
like you can't see anyone else's time. I saw a little girl on TV, a little girl on a YouTube channel, and the little girl fall down, and her mom goes, "Oh, you, that didn't hurt." And she goes, "What do you mean it didn't hurt? This is my body. You can't feel what I feel.
Yeah.
It hurt." Fucking just stuffed her mom and said, "Here, go talk to the hand. You can't see what I see. You can't feel what I feel." And I thought that was just phenomenal. See,
Yeah.
that's all perceptions of each individual world claiming their truth, because all the creation is true and you just say what the fuck it is. Even if your truth is it's
Yeah.
wrong, it's still false to you. It's just a truth of experience. That's what you got to see. We're on the true side of things. The false side of things is non-existence, and in non-existence, we don't know what exists, so we have no experience. But since we're on the true side of thing called existence, then everything is true. A booyah.
Yeah. So it's right. It's so all of it to say what? To say, in the end of the day, this is my now, this is my experience, this is what I know, or what the unknown is for me, right? Whatever, and I cannot relate to anything else outside of me and understand it fully because it's not me. I understand me, I understand my now, my reality, my I am, I exist. I know that, right? Because I exist. That is clearly now established.
Bingo.
But if I try to go out of that, I don't know because it's not
Well, you
now.
can go out of that, but what you have to realize, it is now that you're thinking about going out of there. The occurrence of that
Yeah.
is occurring now. That's what you have to see. Whatever you're choosing is your now experience. Someone had asked me, well, and about, what about you then? What would you think you would do? It's like, okay, if I won, a real easy one for everyone to relate to. If you won the lottery, what do you think you would do? Pardon me. Well, I have no fucking idea. However, I can give you an idea through this person that I am today, because that person that won the lottery isn't me. So I have no idea how I would behave. I would now behave in that now like I would behave what I think I would behave from this now. So what self is actually doing it? The self that didn't win the lottery. The self that won the
Yeah.
lottery is a different fucking self. Always. And you can take away the lottery and you can put anything, substitute lottery with anything else. So whenever they ask me, what do you think you're going to do when you get there? I was like, I have no fucking idea. Because this is how I am now. I don't go to the futures and postulate an idea about it because I'm still doing it from the self that I am now. Those are different selves. I'm creating a future out of the self I have now. I'm thinking about a future. I'm giving the self now that experience. And it starts and stops in every now. It's never a continuance. A continuance is a memory, making it congruent. A continuance is a possibility of the future, making it the idea of time. It's all part of a now, though. When you really get that grip, you're like, damn, it's all right now. And there's nothing else happening except what the fuck I say it's happening.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Bingo. Yeah. It's
It's
just
fantastic, baby, bombastic. Because it gives you perception. It's all about the realization, the
Perception.
recognition of what's truly going on in your world that creates your reality, creates your experience. We are hung up on the awakeners of the day, hung up on creating a manifested reality of perfectionism according to the self and the now that is slanted as a motherfucker because it lives in polarity. The first thing you do before you start creating realities and manifestation is get rid of your self, the fractal self that is depending on polarity. You're going to only manifest ideas of polarity because that's the only way you can perceive them. That's why I was like, I'm not going to try to create anything. I don't want to intend to create money, to create a better life, to create this or create that. What I'm going to do is get busy with the self that is not me anymore. Tear down the blueprints that I built upon myself because I forgot. And instead of acting a fool with everyone else's truth, I'm going to act a fool with my truth. But the relationship is absolute bliss because the foolishness is no longer someone else's. It's my own journey. And then realize I've never been a fool. I've been a creator,
No. Yeah.
experiencing a master class
Right.
called humanity. That it takes big brass fucking balls to come down here and incarnate as this idea. So it's a magnificent journey. It's magnificent. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so now the unknown, you are, each one of us, we are the unknown in the end, right? That's where we go. That's where we are because we don't know ourselves. We have an idea, we have a perception, but that is all around what? Around the human experience, that because that's where all of that is coming from. When I go into the unknown, the only thing that I'm discovering, finding, whatever way that may be, it's always me, more of me, because that's what there is. There is only me. I'm taking away all the blinds, all the whatever belief systems, all the stuff that have been there, keeping me away from more of me. I'm just discovering myself. I'm not discovering the world, I'm not discovering the universe, not discovering whatsoever. There is only me to discover, and that is
Exactly.
the unknown.
I don't need to know everything else about creation when I don't even know myself. I got to know myself
Yeah.
first. I'm not discovering or creating myself. I'm remembering myself. Well, I am discovering myself that's already there, is a better way to say it. Again, I
Yeah,
always go back to my Seth.
absolutely.
Remember your Seth. If you don't know who Seth is, look up Seth Jane Roberts. Jane Roberts channeled Seth from the 60s until the 80s. Absolute master channeler, Jane. And her husband interpreted
Yeah.
everything and wrote it down in shorthand and then transcribed it. So all the books are there. The Seth material. Remember your Seth. You came here in separation, not knowing you're here. You journey away from yourself to wake up, journey back to yourself to realize you never left yourself. So that self is always there. It's just covered up by the veil of separation, the conditionings of reality. Why? For the experience, because we can't get it anywhere else. You got to go to a
Mhm.
planet, you got to go to an incarnation that doesn't know itself in order to experience what we are experiencing here: suffering, happiness, sadness, loneliness, needy, wants, desires, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, regrets, hopeful, all these fucking things, panic attacks, PTSD, all of these are created experience. They're not the standards, and you can't throw them up on the universe saying this belongs to everyone. Fuck you. It belongs to you. Get nasty, get humble, and start to seeing your journey in your own internal bubble. You say what goes, but you can't demand it. You have to command it. There's a difference. You don't demand it from the external. You command the internal. I understand fully now what the meek shall inherit the earth. That's the ones that open up and see themselves and inherit the transcending world, the fourth density world that will be host to our species, Homo galacticus, when our entire species wakes up to itself. That's the meek that shall inherit the earth. The other ones, you guys are an outcast that don't choose to come. You're not outcast. You're just in your next room. You're on your next adventure. You wake up because you're a god. You're a whole being, and no one else has an opinion about you, except down here on earth. They are ability to have opinions about you and yourself. You're going back home. Relax. No one loses here. No one loses.
No one. All
Is it
right.
time? Yeah, it's about time.
So there we are. It's time. Yes. Again. So, we're going out of here.
We are? We're going out?
A pleasure as always.
It's time to end the show, folks.
Yeah, we're going out. um, so, thank you for joining in and spending this wonderful moment with us. Where can they find you, Roxy? Oh, and yeah, and the classes.
Yes, odysseyofascension.com. YouTube is Odyssey of Ascension. And on the website is School of Recognition. Classes start tonight. This won't be out, but you can still join because we have recordings of the classes. They take place once a week. School of Recognition is to see your own shit. Putting in the fundamental ideas about continuing recognizing it and bringing it back to the self, which takes some work because our habits are externalizing everything. Because we're born apart from ourselves, so everything is outside of ourselves. So that's the known self, and that's a large habit. So we give you the tools and the recognition in this classroom work to recognize the internal self and awaken, create an observer self, and start to see how you really are creating your reality. So that takes place Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central on Zoom. And if you get this later and you want to join, check the website, and I'll send you this class if you join after this class, which you will because we won't be published until tomorrow anyway. So anyways, I love you guys. Thank you all for joining in. Max, thank you so much. Is that it?
And yeah, and you can find me on breakfast.
Forgot about you saying
breakfast with breakfastwithmax.com on the website and Breakfast with Max on YouTube. And yes, so we will be seeing you in the next.
See you in the next one. Now, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye bye.
We'll rock your radio.